brought to you by Mr. Pros TV, streaming from Tempe, Arizona. And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's Tia Moore here with NextView Home Professionals with Keller Williams Integrity First Realty. And I have Tony Preston also from Keller Williams Integrity First here in studio with me. We're going to talk to Tony about all things commercial real estate and any other nonsense he'd like to share with us today. Just kidding. Tony's funny, so you'll notice that throughout our interview. I want to say a special thank you to some of our partners, Justin and Ryan from Nova Home Loans from the Oliver Wayland team. They are our preferred lenders. If you guys are looking to purchase a home with our team, if you are looking to do a refinance, contact Ryan and Justin. They will take care of your financing needs. If you're looking for a home warranty, maybe that's something you want to give out as a Christmas gift or a birthday gift. You never know. Somebody may be having a lot of home issues, or maybe they might soon, and you want to give them a home warranty. Contact Dr. Yvonne Hunter with Platinum Home Warranty. And we also have Jeremy Eaton. Our favorite escrow officer is Elva Palmer with Security Title. So for all of your escrow and title needs, contact them. So without further ado, Tony, how you doing today?
I'm great.
Yeah?
You got some good sponsors there. Some good people.
They are really good people. Do you know them all?
I do.
You do?
Most of them.
Really?
I do.
So you know Jeremy. I know that.
I do.
You know Yvonne.
I do.
Do you know Justin and Ryan?
So I've talked to Justin, I think, on a couple different occasions and way back when, but good group. Nova Home Loans is a great lender over there.
You need to start using them, like now. See,
tell them to get into commercial real estate, and then we can start talking.
There's your point.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to talk about. So just so you know, the show, what we do is we do like rapid fire questions up front. Sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 5. I just kind of go with it. Just depends on how funny you are. So the funnier you are, the more I'll ask.
Oh, jeez.
And then we'll talk.
We'll keep it dry then.
And then then we'll find out a little bit more about you. We'll ask you about your background, what you do for a living, and all the fun stuff that you do as Tony Preston.
Panhandler. That's the easy one. I'll just answer that one.
I know you do panhandle. I see you all the time, and I'm just like, Tony, go sell a commercial property.
Hand out, please.
All right, so first question. What is your favorite thing right now? Do you have a favorite thing?
No.
No?
I don't. I'm busy with chasing 3 young boys around, so I guess those are my favorite things, I guess.
How young? What are
so
their
I have
ages?
a 3,
okay,
a 9, 3, a 5. Gosh, we've fast forward 2 years now. Mm-hmm. I have a 5, 9, and 11.
Oh, yeah. That keeps
All
you
boys.
on your toes.
All boys, yes.
That's awesome. Do you do any coaching or anything like that?
I
for
do.
them?
I coach baseball.
Very cool. Yeah, that
for
keeps
my
you
2
busy.
oldest, yeah.
All right, cool. I thought you were going to say your ear pods were your favorite thing, since you just told me that you have an
I'm on the fence.
You have a no cell phone touching policy.
Well, it keeps you from getting in trouble.
For a second, I believed you. Okay,
Put the phone down.
Put the phone down. Okay, so those are your favorite things. Your 3 boys. That's a good response. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Don't do it.
Okay, sorry. All right.
And that can be applicable in so many different things in life that come up.
I think I've heard you tell me don't do it before.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any pets?
I do not, just 3 young boys.
Okay. If you say 3 young boys one more time, how about, what's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? That depends on moods. Mm-hmm. If I go with probably one of those all-time classics, I'm a Legends of the Fall guy. I like the soundtracks.
Okay.
I'm really big into movies with landscape and soundtracks.
So you fall in love just based on the what you can hear musically?
I think so, yeah.
That's actually good. That's how I like TV shows.
Yeah.
If the TV show has a good playlist, then I'm in.
Yeah. I'm an emotional guy when it comes to movies. That's the only time I really show emotion.
Are you just joking with me right now?
No.
I think you are.
You'll catch me crying in those, like,
Shut up.
Oh, yeah, those family scenes. Oh, yeah. That's the times that I cry and I let it all out.
Did you just do the wiping the tear?
I did.
I hope your wife's watching so she can verify this.
Oh, she'll tell the truth there.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So what is in your handbag right now?
Handbag? Well,
I'm joking. I just wanted to see if you would actually answer.
I do carry a handbag. You see me every morning.
Oh, with your satchel, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
What do you put in there?
I have my calendars in there, my notebooks.
How many calendars do you need?
Well, I have one calendar,
Okay.
but I have 3 different binder books that I follow.
Okay.
And some of that has different calendaring items in there that need to take place, right? I also have one of my favorite books
What's your favorite
that I
book?
carry. It's kind of like my little Bible. It's called Friction.
Friction.
Yes.
Who's the author?
I can't even begin to tell you that.
Okay.
But I can tell you the gist of it. It's about just kind of the technology shifts that we're in today, the impacts and the changes in the markets, and the people that are adopting these changes and how they're able to thrive by adopting those changes.
Nice.
And so it has a lot of great case points in there, a lot of company studies and so forth. So
Wow. Friction.
excellent read.
I'm going to have to get that book.
I
I'm
highly
always
recommend
looking
that.
for good reads.
I make sure all of our team members read it.
You do?
I do.
Is that one of the first books you require them or you ask them
Who
to read?
Moved My Cheese is probably the first item.
That's a good one.
Because it's changed. Anything that's on change, it's
Yes.
and how to adapt with it.
I'm a big fan of that one as a starter, and Energy Bus. I love that one.
You know, a great picture book, Energy Bus.
Picture book. It's not a picture book.
I know it sits on a lot
I've
of books are
given that
picture
to-
books to me.
Oh,
So
for
it's
you.
just,
Okay.
Yeah, so I have them there, and quick reference.
I've given
pictures.
I've given that one to family members, Stephen. Like, you're just gonna need to read this, okay?
Yeah. So I do from time to time. People hand me books. I'm not I hate to say it because it's not probably a good thing, but I'm
Yeah.
not that big of a reader of those types of books.
That one's more, to me, it's more of a storytelling.
Yeah.
So I like it so that it makes it a quick read, kind of like Who Moved My Cheese.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself listening to audiobooks at all?
I have. So from
But it's
time
still
to
not
time,
entertaining for you.
What's that?
But because you said you don't like those types of books, so do you find yourself like, I'm not interested?
It all depends. It has to capture something. So it has to. So weirdly enough, is I'll read books on things that I don't understand. So
Okay.
game theory. I didn't understand game theory. I understood it somewhat conceptually.
Okay.
Wanted to get a little bit more in-depth knowledge on it.
Okay.
So I went out and bought game theory books.
Okay.
If I want to learn business processes on what other companies are doing, other industries are doing for their business processes or systems, those are the kind of books I read. So
Okay. That makes sense.
a lot of case study type stuff. I read a lot of white paper.
Okay.
So new advancing technologies.
See, you do a lot of reading.
I do a lot
You
of
just don't
reading.
like
I just
those
don't
books.
do I'm not the Dr. Phil guy. I'm
That's
not
not
the
bad.
yeah.
It's a
The
good
Tony
thing.
Robbins. I'm not the rah.
That's not necessarily me either,
Yeah.
actually. So I hear you. We did read the ALC Red Grit recently, and that was a pretty good one. I liked it.
There's
Well-
a lot of great and I don't mean to put them down. That's why
Yeah.
I say it's probably a little bit of a fault that, but for whatever, it just doesn't capture me.
Okay. What would you? I'm going to ask you one last question because then
Sure.
we can get it. You are probably the most detailed rapid fire questioner I've asked.
Uh-oh.
I've
Sorry.
had in
Am
here.
I- see?
No. It's not a bad thing, but it takes away the rapid.
Oh.
rapid fire.
Well, fire them at me. Let's not go into descriptions.
I just have one more question for you, and then we'll find out. We'll get to know you more. What would you say is the best thing that happened to you today?
this show.
Really?
This is awesome.
Are you just joking and pulling my leg?
No,
Okay.
not pulling any legs.
Very
well,
cool.
I am, but no one can see that because we have a table.
We have a concrete table, which is like my thing right now. All into concrete concepts. So you're enjoying coming. We did a video this morning,
Yes.
and you were like, "Oh, I didn't have to do anything. I just said 3 words."
I know. Now I'm talking. This is almost like counseling. So.
Oh my gosh,
I'm totally into that kind of
That's
stuff.
a lot of pressure.
No.
Are we gonna get tears today?
You never know, but I don't see any boxes of tissue, so we're okay
Yeah.
for
So
right now.
if you cry, you're gonna have to use your shirt sleeve.
Yeah.
Unless I go and
No,
bring
it's
some
just
tissue
this.
for you.
It's just that.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Little teardrop.
Yeah,
All right. So you are in commercial real estate.
I am.
Tell us a little bit about your background and what led you into commercial real estate.
Background is fantastic,
So now
wonderful.
you can wipe your eyes.
With a stick. These are
Thanks,
the best
bye.
because they're very absorbent, multi-purpose.
That's
so
hilarious.
We'll keep that for your water spills, and we'll keep that for my waterfalls.
Burn!
Yeah,
Yes,
there we go.
I spilled water last week during last week's broadcast, And I'm so happy that everything didn't set on fire. So we survived it. And they let me come back. So that's a good thing.
That's always a good thing. Whenever they let you back into any place that you've ever been.
I know, it's a good thing.
It is.
So thank goodness.
Yes.
They must like me here.
Yes.
Which is, they like me everywhere, I think.
Yeah.
Well, pretty
it's
likable
hard not
person.
to like.
I know. Anyway, I'm just
Whatever.
kidding. So tell us, what brought you, tell us about your background and what led you into commercial real estate.
Sure. So I first got my license when I was going to community college. And so I was in my 20s. And so that would have been in the probably 90s, about when you were born, right?
Yeah, of course.
So
No. I wish. Well, no, I don't.
yeah, so I worked in real estate, and then from there I was recruited into technology and worked for this little small company called Insight Enterprises. And
Okay.
so I was number like 235 employee at that time. We
Okay.
worked out of a warehouse in downtown Tempe area,
Okay.
over by the airport, and was with them for several years and did basically Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 sales.
Okay.
So focused on a lot of companies on the East Coast.
Which explains why you read white pages and why you're so drawn toward technology, which you should be anyway, because
Yeah.
that's where we are, but it's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so I spent a great deal of time in technology. Went and kind of did what you do in technology, is you kind of company hop,
Yep.
People come in and they want to recruit you in for different types of business development activities, and did that. Really enjoyed it,
Okay.
and primarily worked with really large type organizations, which was great to see. You get to pull back the curtains and see how companies are operating, what other companies are doing out there.
Yeah.
From there, just kind of went into a soul searching, kind of what did I want to do for the rest of my life, and I took about a year off
Okay.
of working in general, and
Sounds lovely.
yeah, it was. My wife didn't like me too much. She's like, "Go
When
find,
are you going to
go
go to
find
work?"
something. Go
Yeah.
get a job. Go work at Circle K."
Right.
So I went out and bought a real estate company,
Yep.
and owned and operated that for 15-something years,
Okay.
and then just recently came over to Keller Williams to build out the commercial division.
Which that's where I met you.
Yes.
We met at Keller Williams. I think we technically met when we were doing stuff for the culture committee for Red Day.
Correct.
And I was like, who is this crazy guy? We got to get to know him a little better. But you were working. I remember when we did our what was it? An exterior makeover project. You had saws, you had, I don't know what, you had hammer, you
We were
had a
building
lot of
stuff.
stuff going on.
It was cool. It was fun.
It was a fun day.
Yeah, it
was
was.
a hot day.
It was
but
a very
fun.
hot day. Yes.
Okay, so now you're at Keller Williams. You're building out the commercial division. You have a pretty sizable team. How many people do you have on your team?
Depending on if we bring in our different outside consultants and partners in there, team member size, we're about around 12, and we're looking to grow that. Next year is going to be kind of our real big growth year, right? So we're looking at doubling, tripling our size.
Okay.
Ultimately, our goal is to get our sales force up to about 89
Okay,
agents
that's awesome.
in the Phoenix Metro.
So a lot of time, at least from my experience, a lot of times real estate agents, when they come into the industry, they automatically gravitate toward residential. So, and a lot of times it's probably because they don't have as much information out there about commercial real estate, or they may not even have mentors available. So if a person is interested in getting into commercial real estate, what would you say are the skills that they should possess?
I think for the most part, I think people are intimidated by commercial real estate. I think for the most part, people know more about it than what they give themselves credit for.
Okay.
So some of the skill sets that what we look for is not necessarily experience in the business, but I want experience with business in general.
Yeah.
Because we're making a business decision here. And so how do you help people make those business decisions? It's understanding the numbers, right? What's going to make dollars and cents for them. But then more importantly, understanding the owners, right?
Yes.
So what makes sense for a new business and what makes sense for the owner, and how you make those two work together, right?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of putting a deal together. And so I think if you have a good understanding of how business works, understand the numbers, anybody can do commercial real estate.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of the contracts, when you're dealing with the sales and even on the leasing side, you're dealing with some complex contracts.
Yeah.
And a lot of commercial real estate deals in general are very out of the box.
Yeah.
So we're residential is a little bit more conforming.
Yes, it is.
So you have a conforming forms and everything. You just kind of, it's not fill in the blank.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot
But
more
it is
to
very
it. The
cookie
business.
cutter.
It is. So once you understand the process, then you can kind of excel at it. Commercial real estate doesn't really lend that to you. So
Okay.
each situation's a little bit different.
Okay.
Each business is a little bit different in their needs.
Yeah.
And it's how you find and match people together.
Okay. I'll probably
You're connecting the dots.
Yes, and I'll probably come back to ask you a little bit more, just because I know a lot of people don't move in that direction, and even me, there's some things that I don't know, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on here, because it's an opportunity for me to educate myself,
Sure.
as well as anybody that might be watching. But I've heard you talk about some very interesting deals, and so, for example, and I don't know how much I can say, but I know, for example, you told me you thought outside the box because there was vacant land available. And so you guys pivoted from trying to sell the vacant land, which wasn't going to generate very much income, to turning into like a mobile home park.
Correct.
So can you tell me how you arrive at some of these ideas, or what things that you look at to make those suggestions to your clientele to make it a better situation for them?
Sure. So we rely on a lot of input from a lot of different people in the industry. We meet with a lot of the municipalities, right? So we kind of do a needs analysis of, okay, we have a vacant piece of land here. What would you like to see done with this land?
Okay.
You know, they all have, most municipalities and counties, and they have general plans of what they want to see the growth of their cities or whatnot.
Okay.
How do you fit something within that? So like that case, we have some vacant land, and we actually have a bunch of vacant land throughout that we've had to kind of look at and say, you know, this property here is zoned commercially, and it's a C2 zoning, but yet we have a lot of vacancy in the area of that type of product. The likelihood of a development going in there for retail, it's just, no one's going to go and put forth the capital to build something along those lines, only to add more vacancy in the area.
Right.
So you have to look at that property and say, okay, what's the best use for it? You know, we are able to take one piece of property, convert it from a C2 over to a high-density residential project.
Okay.
From there, we pitched the project out to different likely investors or developers that would move forward with going vertical with the project. And some of that might be multifamily, some of it might be housing, whatever the case might be. So just kind of really taking a look and seeing what are the needs in the area. So that land that you're talking about there, the mobile home part, you know, it's part of a master plan community.
Okay.
And this master plan community community was put forth, you know, several years ago prior to the crash.
Yeah.
So I mean, I shouldn't say several. It's been 10 plus years.
Yeah.
And so we have an owner that owns the property, and how do you sell that?
Yeah.
You know, and so we looked and met with the city, and we said, okay, we have an affordability housing crisis a little bit out there. There's just not that many options for affordable housing. We also know the baby boomer generation is going to be moving into and downsizing and looking for communities to live in at a fixed income. And so how do you produce that? How do you provide that? So we meet with the cities, go through and say, this is our idea. We want to put in 281 mobile homes.
Okay.
What needs to be done here from certain density residential zoning? So we have to go through there and find out what that is, and it's a PAD amendment or whatever the case might be, and we go through those channels.
So there are a lot of people that are involved in that type of a project.
Absolutely.
And the only reason I know is because I explored it on some land that I had listed out in Quinn Creek, but very shortly explored. So can you tell us a little bit about what type of professionals that you have to involve in a project like that to get a zoning change? Just that part alone is quite the undertaking, right?
It depends. Some of it is Well, most zoning changes you have to go through the council. And so that's a whole long drawn out process. And depending on what you're proposing, if it's a project or if it's just a zone change, different requirements are going to take place. So the housing deal that I was telling you about with one where we took a C2 property and converted it into a high density housing project. Well, you have engineers, architects, landscape architects. I mean, we had to go through the whole design of what this project would look like. And so then we have our guys that go and do all the entitlement stuff. They meet with the city planners, the P&Z groups, and kind of say, you know, here's the project that we're proposing. They came back to us and say, we want something a higher density, so then we have to go back to the drawing board. We go through that, and then there's just like little back and forth when you're going through the city until you kind of solidify what's going to be approved, and then you move forward for the approval of the zone change. You have neighborhood meetings, so you have people that have to go do presentations. So there's a lot of great companies and consultants out there. I happen to think we have some of the best that are on our team. That can go through those processes for us, and so I mean it's a lot of people, and in some cases people are spending quite a bit of money too.
That was my next question. Who pays for that? Does the landowner pay for that? Who's paying for this bill?
So, and that's the unique thing about real estate is you can create all different types of structures to take on those kind of costs. So you can do joint development ventures with people. So you bring in an investor that maybe funds that component of it, but they have to see a recognized return.
Got it.
Most times, oftentimes than not, it's going to be the landowner that is going to take on the burden of that cost. You know, because ultimately we're doing that so we can sell it at a better or a higher dollar amount than what they'll be able to realize at its current situation.
Get them a much higher return.
Correct.
So are there circumstances that would require the landowner to make land improvements in order to even be considered for, like, for example, if you have vacant land and it doesn't have utilities, would that require them to put utilities on it in some cases just to even make it more enticing for an investor?
Or have a plan in place to get utilities there. So, and then whoever's going to go vertical with the project or build something, they would understand what those expenses would be. And so as you kind of, you know, what you're trying to do is put together a package so anybody can step into it and move forward with whatever they want to do with that property.
Got it. Exciting stuff.
It is. It's fun.
So what would you say is the largest project you've been a part of and you've overseen?
Largest project.
That you can talk about.
Well, there's some I can't talk about right now, just because we're in the middle of some negotiations on some of them.
Fair.
You know, I would probably wouldn't say so much the larger ones, but we've had some really complex ones that have been very interesting in trying to get the deal done. So it's the complex ones that are the fun ones, in my opinion, because I'm learning through that whole process. And you get to have really great conversations with a lot of people that are a lot smarter than obviously me, because I never want to be the smartest person in the room, which very rarely ever happens unless it's just me in the room. So, but then that could be argued too as well, you know, depending on what personality I'm talking to.
Oh, goodness gracious. Tony.
But, yeah.
Okay, so I agree with you.
That was a very vague answer.
It was a vague answer.
I can't be too general.
But that's okay. I think that I can agree with you in regards to the most complex issues are usually the most exciting because you learn something and you grow from it. It's almost like you're peeling off your skin. Isn't that what the snakes do? Peeling off skin?
Yeah,
you shed a layer.
Shed a layer.
Shed a layer of skin for the winter or season change, whatever they do. But it takes you forward to your next 10, 20, 30, whatever deals you have or your goals that you're trying to make because you've gained so much knowledge from that. So I do like that.
Plus you get to see something. You get to see the result of your work in that process. So
yes, it's very good.
There's some gratification in that.
I know. You don't feel it when it's happening. You just feel, a lot of times you just feel tired and you feel like banging your head against the wall. But then at the end of it, you're like, okay, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah, that's why my head is so flat right here, is we often do that.
That, and I like to hit you when you come in.
That too, and
that's
my
why
wife
you
likes
have the
to hit
chip
me
on
too
your
as
shoulder.
well. Yes, that's exactly why.
Tony dressed up as had a chip on his shoulder for Halloween. That was his Halloween costume. I should have brought that picture.
It was perfect.
Because I took a picture of you outside of our window, because you always knock on our window in the morning, because we're always always doing something in that office.
Yep.
And I should have brought the picture and have Fedora put it up on the screen, but I forgot. Sorry, guys. It was pretty good. It was a pretty good. Where did you even get a chip that size?
It's at a costume store of all places, and
Okay.
we randomly found some areas of some random costumes, and I'm like, this is mine.
That
This is perfect for me.
So random.
Because I go around I have a chip on my shoulder.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to your team.
Okay.
So tell us. So you said you have about 11, I believe. Okay, so with the 11 members of your team, are they sorted out in different divisions, different
Correct.
focuses? So can you tell us a little bit about what each division is
Sure.
and what it represents?
Yeah. So our group name is CLI Advisors, which stands for Commercial Land and Investments. So, and we have it devised up accordingly. So we have our commercial group, and then we have our land group, which kind of focuses on selling land, developing entitlement type stuff. The investment side is probably the only place where we play in the residential.
Okay.
But that's mainly for any type of residential or real estate related products that are income driving. So whether it's someone looking at trying to build up a portfolio of properties,
Okay.
Because we look at real estate is the number one driver for wealth in growing your wealth. And so really what we wanted to do is create a group that kind of encompass the whole investor.
Yeah.
So oftentimes most investors start off accidentally. You have that
true.
house that you can't sell or whatever the case might be,
Yep.
and you become a landlord.
Yep.
And then, or someone totes you along to some convention that you did not want to go to, and then
You're
you're
like,
the
"Oh."
first one to buy into the system, right? So now you've made this big capital investment of how you're going to become a millionaire and
Yep.
sip martinis and
You get very motivated.
yes,
All of a
yes,
sudden, right?
correct.
Okay.
So we wanted to provide a vehicle
Okay.
for that. And so how do you transition in your path of gaining wealth in real estate? And usually it starts within residential.
Yep.
And then we can progress into land and progress into commercial
Okay.
based investments. So great thing about commercial investments, it's kind of more cases than not, it's what we consider as like mailbox money on an investment level.
Got
So
it.
you're looking at a rate of return for, and you have management teams that are managing everything for you. So
Right.
it's not as hands-on.
That's good.
Yeah.
So what about? So are you guys are not? You're more than in Arizona. What other states are you in?
So we have stuff going right now in Washington. Some of our
Okay.
agents have stuff going in Washington
Okay.
and in California.
Okay.
We're looking to expand,
Okay.
kind of in the Southwest region,
Got it.
even up to the Northwest region.
Okay.
Eventually, how we kind of see it is, not that we have the answers to everything, but our growth path is to kind of move nationally within the framework of Keller Williams.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I love it. What made you make the change from the brokerage you purchased and coming over to Keller Williams? And I know you said you might plead the fifth on some things.
Sure.
This is not one of those
No,
times.
this
you
one's I can be very honest on this one.
Okay.
Being an owner broker, at one time we had a pretty good sized company, and prior to the crash, and then after the crash happened, I had a lot of really good people, really talented people that obviously left the industry or went in the corporate world or whatnot, and so we had to rethink our business a little bit, and we became more of like a boutique brokerage, right? So we kind of focused on the hard-to-do real estate deals.
Okay.
I don't know if that was the smartest thing, but from that we gained a lot of knowledge.
Okay.
And then we got to a point where we had a lot of projects on the table, and we didn't have the resources to fulfill it.
Got it.
And so, you can make a decision there. I can go out and recreate everything on my own, on my dollar, which is very, very expensive to do.
Very much.
And then, or I can go and partner with an organization that has these systems in place, right?
Yeah.
That has the training in place, that has the different things that I don't have to spend my time and my wheels and my money on recreating.
So leverage.
It is. It's all about that leverage. Steve Chater invited me. It originally started with Jesse Herfel, invited me to come talk to him and his group. And then I ran into Steve because I got lost in the building. I said, Steve, how the hell do I get out of here?
Directionally challenged too. Gosh,
Yeah,
no
it-
wonder you
it
always
was
walk
like
into my
amazing.
wall. You're walking into my window,
walk-
not knocking on
Yeah,
it. You
exactly.
don't know where you're going.
That's exactly it. I'm that bird
Yes.
that always hits the window. Yes, that is me.
That's funny.
So had a bunch of conversations with Steve during that time, and he took me out to family reunion. I met with a lot of the groups out there,
Okay.
participated in that, and then it was Gary Keller, I think, what really solidified me in making the move is the direction of where they're going with technology.
Yeah.
And I said, okay,
I could see that.
this is exactly a place for me.
Let's talk about that a little bit. So, which part? Because I mean, I know about the technology and where we're going. So, what was it? I don't know why I'm not finding my words right now. But what specifically, technology-wise, is it that attracted you to come to Keller Williams?
So, from part of it is a methodology,
Okay.
right? On how you're going to go and attack and support business. I always was a firm believer and have been, and the main reason why I got into real estate, which I didn't really share there, but I felt real estate was prime for disruption.
Okay.
I felt things were backwards a little bit in that most models were very agent-centric and not consumer-centric. And I always said the first company that changes that and flips that model and concentrates on the consumer, that consumer-centric model is the one that's going to dominate
Okay.
the industry.
True.
And so even though Keller Williams is a very agent-centric model in its sense, the technology that they're developing is not just to support the agent, right? But it's really to support the consumer. They're going to be the drivers of business moving forward. And that's the beautiful thing about technology. And when I heard Gary Keller up there talking about the methodology, at that time it was, he had probably spent a lot of money on his plan, had some working ideas of what they wanted it to look like, right? But we saw screenshots of what it could look like, right? And there's been a lot of changes over the course of the last year or so, and there's going to be a lot more changes as we go through.
Because it's technology.
It is.
It changes.
It advances, and people give their inputs into it. And so, from that standpoint, when you're in the game of technology, it is a very big capital
investment.
It's you have to have money, big pockets to play in that. And I understood that. And so to partner with an organization that was making those kind of capital investments, how we could possibly partner into that, right?
Yeah.
How we can utilize the information that they're able to, through their network of 187 real estate agents worldwide, their understanding of what's going on in the industry, what's going on within the markets, how those pieces of information can help people make better decisions with what they're investing into.
There you go.
Or starting companies, right?
Yeah.
You want to be where the people are.
I know.
And
a lot of people miss that part, though. They miss that when they get into real estate, they are literally starting their own startup. It's their own company.
Yeah, your own business, and that's where most failures happen, and that's why I think there's a high failure rate in real estate. Is people are not set up to run their own business.
Correct.
Because as you know, growing your own team, it's very challenging when you're wearing all these different hats. So today I'm the CEO.
Yep.
Tomorrow I'm the janitor, or later on in the day I'm the janitor, and then I'm running the marketing department, and then so on and so forth. And all those different things spread you so thin. And so those are some of the big lessons, too, that I've always had a hard time with in the past, is how to leverage myself better.
Yeah.
And that's still a learning.
You care about all those things, so it's hard to.
It is. You always want to touch it. And at the end of the day, you have to bring in people that are smarter than you, that can do those things and do them better than you.
Yep.
And so it's the empowerment of that. And that's the exciting thing, is I feel like I'm growing now. I'm around a lot of great people.
Yeah.
I get to see everybody else's different business models and how and what they're doing that's making them successful. And just to have discussions.
I know. I love that.
Simple
like
discussions.
we talked about today.
Yes.
You were like, what are you doing? I said, we're going to knock doors. We have to meet. We have a goal to talk to 3,000 people. Technically, it's 3,587 people. But That's our goal. We can't miss it because we said it, we meant it, and we
Yep.
got to hit it.
Yeah.
So by any means necessary.
That is awesome.
So, but thanks. But what was nice is you were like, oh, I have some ideas that I can run by you. And you don't really get that every day in most organizations. And, or if you're in an office by yourself and you have nobody else to run ideas by, you're the end all be all. And that's not what you want.
I'm the most brilliant person when I'm in the office by myself.
But you're not. That's why you don't. That's why you're not always in there by yourself.
I'm the only one that's brilliant, and I'm the only one that knows it.
And that's a hazard.
That is a big hazard. It's a big trip hazard too.
I know. But what I can tell people about you is that I know you work really hard. I see you come into the office early because I see you when you come in. Hint, hint, I'm here there first. And then I see you all the time.
Oh, okay.
And then I see you when you are leaving, but you leave after me. So.
I do.
But it's usually like I'll see you at like 7:30 and you're like, yep, I got to finish this up, or I got to go. I came back because I was coaching baseball, so I'm back. So I do know that you really do work. And so it's putting all those pieces together.
It is.
So going back to you growing your team, now you're trying to, your push is to go to 89 people next year.
Of course, in the next couple of years, yes.
Or 89, within a year or two. So who's your ideal person that you're looking to bring on? Do you have that mapped out yet?
I do. And each one of the groups is a little bit different, right?
Okay.
So land's a very specific business. With that, people have to have an understanding too. As they get into commercial real estate, our sales cycles are a lot different than residential. So making money, even though you have a chance of making a good living for yourself, establishing yourself within the industry, it takes time.
Yeah.
The deals take time before you're actually compensated. I think in residential, you can get your license and go out and start working with someone day one, and then maybe get them under contract, and then maybe within 30 to 45 days, maybe 60 days, you can have money in your pocket, and you're like, woohoo.
Right.
Commercial real estate doesn't work that way.
Right.
You can start working with someone today and go through 6 months of negotiation. Some cases it can be a year long of negotiations, and then you have due diligence phases, and those can take another 60, 45, 90 days, 180 days. It really depends on what's going on.
Yeah.
And then you go into a contract phase or whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
The timelines are just a lot longer. And so you have to be prepared, or people have to be prepared that, not to expect to make much money in your first 18 months in commercial real estate.
Okay.
Which is challenging.
Yeah.
And I think that's where most people that get into commercial real estate, they start off as an intern for their first year. So that internship, they're building someone else's business.
Yeah.
In essence, they're supporting it, but then part of that internship, they're building their business for when they're ready to step in. So they're stepping into working deals, or they're partnering with seasoned agents, and they get a cut.
Yeah.
So, I guess the ideal person, especially from the commercial side, is really looking for people that are willing to think outside of the box.
Okay.
Right. We want people that really understand, in order to be really good in this market, you can't be the jack of all trades.
Right.
So you have to specialize, and specialize in something that you have some background in or some passion towards.
Yeah.
So like medical is kind of one of those areas that, you have different types of medical uses, right? So you have dentists, and then you have, your care doctors, and then our primary care doctors, and then you have, elderly care type and the life care type stuff. And each one of them are different products.
Yeah.
And so you have to understand the product, you have to understand the people.
Yeah.
And that's really where you can be successful.
And that's where that first 18 months comes in, because you're learning all those things that you wouldn't necessarily think about.
Correct.
If you didn't go through that training process.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we're, to be honest, we're looking for people with some life experience into them, or not even necessarily have to have all the experience into it, right? But they have a good business acumen that they can step into a situation and understand that hey, we need to break it down by the numbers. We have to understand what the client's needs are, and then try to connect the dots.
Okay, so somebody who's a listener, somebody who's willing to grow, learn, and they're not stuck.
Correct.
Because you can't be stuck if you also have to think outside the box.
You have to be a self-starter.
Yep.
You can't sit and wait for someone to tell you what to do in this business, because you'll just get passed by.
Okay. Well, we are going to wrap it up there.
Sweet.
So I appreciate you coming today, Tony.
Yeah, no, this is awesome.
If somebody wanted to reach out to you because they wanted to purchase or do a lease or something with commercial real estate, or if they want to apply to be on your team, how do they reach out to you?
Probably the best would be you can text me, call me, email me.
Okay.
I'm pretty accessible. For the most part, I'll answer my phone when I possibly can, except for right now.
By hitting the 2 taps?
It's just like that. It's Star Trek-ish.
Tell them your phone number.
So my phone number is 602-615-1383.
Okay. What's your email?
Email is Tony, Tony, .Preston, Preston, @kw.com.
He almost forgot his contact info, guys.
I did,
Just
almost.
kidding.
I just had to sit there and pause for a moment.
That's so funny. Well, again, thank you. I appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
This wasn't even that much fun. We were just talking too much business. Where's the rapid fire? Let's bring it on.
Well, you were taking long with the rapid fire. You were slow rapid.
I thought I was in my therapist room or something.
Oh my gosh. And people tell me the most random things, so I think I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed my calling. No,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe.
I double as a real estate agent / therapist.
Well, you're in
Kinda goes
residential
hand in
real
hand.
estate, and that is,
Goes
you are
hand in hand.
absolutely a therapist in this business.
I have to wrap up because I get to deliver keys to one of our buyers today. I'm so
Congratulations.
excited for her. So we negotiated a pretty good deal. The house was listed at $320. We negotiated it at $305. It appraised for $330. So boom, win, right?
That's knuckles.
So Becky, if you are watching, I promise I'm going to text you back. I saw your text come through. We're going to get you your keys. So at 4. So you guys, thank you so much for watching NextView podcast today. Don't forget to reach out to Ryan or Justin at the Oliver Wayland team at Nova Home Loans for all of your loan needs. Contact Dr. Yvonne Hunter, Platinum Home Warranty, for all of your home warranty needs. And make sure you put in Elva Palmer at Security Title for all of your escrow needs. Jeremy, thank you so much for being one of our sponsors. I appreciate it. Have a good week, you guys. We'll see you next Thursday, same time, same place.